It was one of the interesting ones because me and Zandri would often debate how would we do if we did the Amazing Race together. And Zandri maintains that we would have been one of those couples that ended early because of too much fighting. That's probably how it would have ended. Unfortunately, I'd like to think that we would have done this thing together. But no, I don't think it would have worked out that way. The Amazing Race, what caught my attention with the Amazing Race is that the incredible journey that these people took. How you have to work together and get there into different countries that speak different languages and find your way to landmarks to get another clue around the whole world. I would love to do this in reality, the Amazing Race. I'd love to do it without fighting. But anyway, we watched the TV series and we loved it. It was probably like one of the first reality TV type series that ever kind of happened. But it was really, really fun to watch how people made the wrong decisions, the right ones, wangled their way through difficult times to get to the end. So I really enjoyed that. And it obviously made me think about racing and running and all these things. And I Googled racing and running records. And this is what I found, 11 incredible running records. And then I've just Googled something else that'll add a 12th one in. I did that for Vern. You'll know in a minute why. So how's this for some running records? Running backwards. Okay. This guy ran backwards from China. I can't pronounce his name. He's the record holder in running backwards. He ran an entire Beijing International Marathon backwards. Most people running forwards struggle to finish in under 4 hours. He ran backwards and finished in 3 hours and 43 minutes. Running a marathon backwards. How's this guy? This guy's name is Rainer, from Austria. Okay. He ran 7 days, 853 kilometers on a treadmill. Yes, his knees must be broken after that. Here's another one, a 24-hour run. The male record is held by a guy by the name of Giannis, and the woman record is Mami. And they ran in 24 hours. The male ran 303 kilometers, and the woman ran 252 kilometers in 24 hours. Think about that. I drive that, and I'm tired. Like, I don't know how these guys do it. Anyway, there's tons. Okay, here's one for some of the elderly in the church. Okay. This woman from India, Fauja Singh, is the oldest long-distance runner and the first one to finish a marathon at the age of 100. Huh? There's some serious records. I've got another page of a bunch of things. 3,100-mile record, the longest race. Here's another one. A guy by the name of Christian from Germany has the world's record for running up and down stairs at the Frankfurt Tower. He covered 13 meters of elevation game, a 12-hour stair run. He ran up and down 71 times in 12 hours. Up and down. A 13-meter up and down, 71 times. Anyway, and then there's a bunch of others. I'm not going to go through all of them, but I do want to go through this one. I did this for Vern. Okay, the official Guinness World Records for racing on crutches. Okay, include impressive feats. The current world record for the fastest marathon on crutches is held by Michael Marshall from Australia, who finished in 5 hours and 50 minutes in 2025, last year. This guy ran a marathon on crutches, so there's no excuses. No excuses. You're tired of walking in your hands. That's actually not in this thing. I'm surprised. I should have looked up the longest handstand run. I'm sure there is a record like that. People do crazy things. The Amazing Race. I've got 3 lessons for today only, so you don't have lots to think about, and it's this. 3 lessons. Winning is the only option. Number 2, be a kif oak. Who knows that word, kif? You'll know it, Vern. It's very Eastern Cape. I grew up in East London. Be a kif oak is like be a lekker oak. Okay? It's like English slang there in the Eastern Cape. Okay, be a kif oak. And then the 3rd lesson is roses are red. Those are the 3 lessons for today. If you remember these 3, then you will have remembered the sermon. Winning is the only option. Be a kif oak, and roses are red. Roses are red. Okay, so let's move on and talk about this. Winning is the only option. We're going to turn in our Bibles to 1 Corinthians 9, verse 24. Okay, and it says this: Know ye not that they which run in a race run all, but one receiveth the prize. So run that ye may obtain. Winning is the only option. We are in a life where we are running towards salvation. And have you ever felt sometimes that you want to be like the bunny that takes a break under the tree? And then you fall asleep. And the slow tortoise walks past you and wins the race. Sometimes you just feel like taking a break, don't you? Sometimes the race is heavy. These guys, I don't know how they do what they do. But an Olympic medalist doesn't get up the day before and train. They train for years. For what purpose? To win. They train to win. They train to win. The Bokke don't go through the training exercises that they do to run 80 minutes on a field for fun. Yes, it's fun, but they're running for what? They want to win. They want to win. Okay, so the first one is run so that we may win. Okay, but I want to say this. In the context of what we're talking about today, there isn't only the winner, the person that crosses the line first is the winner. In the context of what we're talking about here today, you win when you cross the line. That's when you win. But I want to talk about this here. This is an interesting one. 1 Kings 19, verse 20 and 21. This is a story of when Elijah called Elisha to be his successor. Okay? And so you remember the story that he calls Elisha and Elisha goes with him. But after, I don't know how long exactly it was, Elisha says to Elijah, just hang on a minute, I need to go back home. And so we pick the story up in verse 20, and it's only 2 verses. And he left the oxen and ran after Elijah and said, let me, I pray thee, kiss my father and my mother, and then I will follow thee. And he said to him, go back again, for what have I done to thee? And verse 21, it says, and he returned back from him, and he took a yoke of oxen and slew them, and boiled their flesh with the instruments of the oxen, and gave unto the people, and they did eat. Then he arose and went after Elijah and ministered unto him. Why did he do that? Why did Elisha go back and do this? Elisha's parents were farmers, and he was a farmer. And so he went and took a yoke of oxen and slew them, boiled their flesh, and gave it to the people and left. Because he was being called to be a prophet. But what if that didn't work out? What if it didn't work out to Laka? It's easy just to go back home, isn't it? So what did Elisha do here? He killed his plan B. That's what he did. Elisha killed his plan B, and there's a very good reason for that. Because when he killed his plan B, he had no other option. He had to win. The problem today is that we often want a plan B, a plan C, a plan D, and a plan E if things don't work out. What if I go down this path with God and things don't work out? I need a safety net. And so we create for ourselves various scenarios to be our safety net. But the reality is that Elisha knew one thing, is that there was only one option, and that is to win. And the temptation of a plan B was too great. So let's kill off the plan B and follow God with everything we've got. Because that's the only way. Winning is the only option. Crossing that finish line is the only option. Forget about your plan Bs. God is the only plan we need. Does that make sense? We're running a race, and Paul says, run so that ye may obtain. Don't stop off under the tree. Don't find a shortcut. Follow Jesus. Because winning is the only option. Does that make sense? We're all together? Okay, that's it. Be a kinfolk. Here's the thing about salvation, is that when we run, we're crossing the line ourselves. When we run, God tells us to help those that are struggling. I remember we lived not so far away from the Comrades Marathon route. And we went, how many times? I think only once. It's boring sitting out there watching people run. But when the guys would go from Durban up to Maritzburg, and they would pass by close to where we lived from the Durban side, and already they're holding their hamstrings when they're running. You just know. There's no ways this guy's going to make it to the end. There's not a chance. Okay. But here's the key thing, is that it doesn't matter how you cross the line. What matters is that you cross the line. But sometimes we're so busy with our own race that we forget to help those around us that need a helping hand to cross that line. I want to play a video here. Calvin, how do we play it? You got to gooi it there. Watch this video. It's a 3-minute video. So let's watch that together. Sometimes winning doesn't look very sexy, but that's what it's about. I don't know which Christian are you? Are you the one that's sailing to the end finish line, or are you the one crawling on the ground to get over the finish line? It doesn't matter how you cross the line. What matters is that we cross the line. Run so that ye may obtain. Keep putting one foot in front of the other and keep going. But here's the trick. If you see somebody else that's struggling to cross the line, what are you going to do? Are you going to keep running and cross the line and look back and say, "Yeah, look how they're struggling, shame, man"? Or are you going to be like those other guys that are going to stop, put their arm over your shoulder and run across with them? I think more often today, there are more people that are straggling to the line than what there are sailing to it. I think there's more of those. And so, there's a story here with Moses. You guys remember the story? Who they were fighting? I think they were fighting the Amalekites, if I'm not mistaken. And when Moses held his hands up, they were winning. But when his hands dropped, they were losing. Was it the same? Was that the same battle where they asked for the sun to stay so that they could win this battle? Was that a different one? Was it? Yes, you're right. Joshua was the sun going down. Moses' hands and Aaron and Hur on the side, they held up his arms so that his hands could stay raised so they could win the battle. And Moses was the number one, wasn't he? He was God's number one guy. But even he needed help. And so often we think that we are trained and ready for the run. And when you get onto that thing, even if you're the number one, sometimes even you need help. And so what's the message? Be a kinfolk. Stop and help. Help people along the way. There was a man, Jesus was preaching in a house, and he knew that if he could just get to Jesus, he could be healed. He was paralyzed. And he had 4 kif friends that carried him, opened up the roof, and dropped him at the feet of Jesus. That's what it means to run the race. The race isn't only about yourself. What's point in finishing the line on your own, but your friends don't? Your family don't? Are we doing what we can do to support those who are struggling? I'll go as far as to say that the majority of people, whether or not on the outward appearance they look like they've got their stuff together, most don't. Most are struggling with the same stuff. But we quietly keep our mouths closed and our smile on our face, and we go through the day trying to run our own fight, our own race, when together we can do so much better. He was lucky. He had 4 good friends. Finally, roses are red. And this is the last lesson for today. The roses are red. The problem with roses is that they have nasty thorns. Have you noticed that? And so all too often, when we're on our race, we are more concerned about the thorns. We're more concerned about the heat, the sweat running down the face, the ankle that's not so lacquer, the hamstring that's feeling a bit tight. And we're so concerned about all of these things that we forget to look a little bit higher and see the beautiful rose. All too often, the obstacles that get thrown in our path as we run the race are so impactful in our lives that we forget the bigger picture. I'm running a race. And we focus on all the obstacles that's impacting us. 1 Peter 4, verse 12 and 13. Beloved, think it not strange concerning the fiery trial which is to try you, as though some strange things happen to you. But rejoice, inasmuch as ye are partakers of Christ's sufferings, that when his glory shall be revealed, ye may be also glad also with exceeding joy. The reality is that the roses have thorns. The journey and the race have obstacles. But don't be so fixated on the obstacles that we forget why we are running in the first place. Trials will come our way. You're going to twist your ankle somewhere along the line. Your hamstring's going to pull tight somewhere along the line. You're going to run out of water somewhere along the line. You might even be sunburnt along the way because you forgot your hat. The devil is trying everything he can to bring you down and to get you to be like the famous rabbit. That's what the devil wants. Don't run, it's too hard. Just stop over here under the beautiful oak tree. There's rest, there's shade. It's so inviting. Fresh water. And just over there on the side is the sun beating down with thorns along the ground. And the devil's trying to pull you down. And so here's the key thing. Winning is the only option. Take people with you. Help those struggling. And in so doing, you'll help yourself. And finally, remember that the roses are red. We know the saying, stop and smell the roses. Sometimes we actually need to do that. Stop focusing on the thorns. Stop focusing on the struggle of life. But start to realize that the struggle itself is a sign of life. The struggle itself is the thing that gives you the confidence that you are running the right race. So let the struggle be an encouragement. That's easy to say. I know it is. But let us encourage one another because the struggle is real. And I think most of us broader in the Christian walk are straggling to the finish line rather than plain sailing through. And the devil's going to do everything he can to make it feel impossible. But if we're there for each other, we're holding each other, we're supporting each other to finish the line, we'll finish it together, and it doesn't need to be sexy. Right? We all have these grand ideas in our minds of just cruising through that line, and it's probably going to be more like you're going to be crawling over that line, panting and sweating, hoping that the wheelchair's on the other side. But that's okay, because winning is the only option. Amen.